There they are.
There they are.
The old clicks to get us rolling. Aaron's over here sniffing a candle.
I am. That's what I do best.
We're back in the podcast studio after a couple of weeks away, actually.
Couple long weeks away.
It doesn't seem like it to you guys because we release them every week.
Right. Right.
But we got an arsenal. We know what we're doing.
We did a little research before starting this puppy.
Not too much research
Not
because
much
we don't like to
at
prepare
all.
very much.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope you guys are all just doing great. Our lives have just taken a whirlwind.
Dramatic change.
Yeah. We named this episode What Just Happened because literally in these 2 weeks, so much has changed and happened. And we're going to tell you.
Let's spend the entire episode just saying, like, teasing it.
I know, right?
No, like, we're not
You guys
kidding.
are going to love what happens.
So much change.
So much.
Like, our lives will never be the same.
No. Everything changed.
And, like, especially you, Kyle, there was so much that happened to you in the past 14 days that will absolutely astound our listeners. I cannot wait to talk about
But the thing is, what happened to me isn't even close to what is going on in your life.
I would beg to differ. And I think in reality, you would beg to differ.
I probably would differ. I would
Which
beg.
is appropriate considering the circumstances, which we are about to tell you in a few minutes.
Yeah, just
but
give us
first, a moment from our sponsors. The garage door opener
Company.
in this studio is, what's their name again, Kyle? Carlson Garage Doors.
Carson. Yep.
Is
Carson.
it Carson or Carlson?
I think there's no.
Yeah.
Well, Carson.
Best garage opener you will ever encounter.
Voted #1 in East Europe.
Wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Eastern? I think it was
Eastern Europe.
Eastern.
I
Yeah.
forgot the urn at the end of East. Sounded weird. East Europe. Hey, you want to go on a trip to East Europe?
I would love to go. I'm
Jeez
all in.
Louise.
So thank you,
Little rusty.
Carlson. Get yours today. Speaking of brands,
At the Dollar
I
General.
just missed out on one of my first modeling gigs in Minnesota. My agent reached out to me and said, "Are you available for a last minute, get this, Toro lawnmower photo shoot?"
That's a compliment, though, if you think about it.
Hugely complimentary. They did ask how much experience I had with a Bush lawnmower.
No way. That
that's
was their
sick.
interview question.
That was one
That's
of the
it.
questions. Yeah.
Do you
Are you
have
available?
white New Balance with grass stains on them?
So apparently I must not have looked enough like a stereotypical dad because I didn't get it.
Let's talk about
all right.
stereotypical dads for a second.
Okay.
I am one now.
He is a dad. But we're not
Maybe
going
not
to tell you about
stereotypical. Yeah, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that in a little
Yeah,
while.
because that's not important.
'Cause that-
The Toro push mowing modeling gig is
Right.
far more important than my child being born 3 days ago from when this podcast was.
Which we're not going to talk about.
Yeah, when this
Just kidding.
podcast was
No.
being recorded.
Kyle, let's start
With our sponsors. Ice Mountain.
Ice Mountain, I tell
Spring
you.
water, the superior of all spring waters.
Mm-hmm.
100% natural spring water from a mountain that's not in Iowa.
Also
because
in
we don't have
Eastern Europe,
mountains.
we get our
Eastern
garage
Europe.
door openers and our water from Eastern Europe. I'm
They-
not sure if you've...
Our sponsors ship in the products. They ship in a new garage door opener every week, so we're always fresh.
Yep.
Nothing's ever going wrong.
Yep.
We're good to go. We always got a fresh garage door opener. We also got fresh bottles of water, which is perfect for
We're
us.
all about fresh.
Only 2 things we care about.
Right. And the corner, for the 2 dudes in a corner, we get a fresh corner every week. Just because we think you all are worthy of that. You deserve a new corner every week.
Yeah, and if you're watching on YouTube,
Yes,
you can
that's a
see
big thing, Kyle.
the
Shush,
corner.
shush, 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 shush. Quiet,
But we'll
please.
talk about it later
We will talk
after.
about that.
I'm just kidding.
Our third sponsor. Now you derailed me. Oh, YouTube.
Yes, we're on
We started
YouTube, dude.
trying YouTube from the very get-go. But for some reason, my video streamed at like when first computers started coming out and the graphics card had like 12 megapixels. It kind of looked like that. So we didn't want to release those. So we started with episode 5. Our last episode is now available on YouTube, as will this 6th one, and then 7th, and then hereafter.
Yeah.
That's just it.
Very good.
There's the update.
They're great. It's fun to. You know what? I think it's fun to watch us.
Yeah.
I'm using my iPhone to record it.
It's amazing.
Wow.
Kyle gets new things all the time, and I'm stuck with old stuff.
You can have my hand-me-downs.
I know. I do get your hand-me-downs. I have an iPhone X.
You do. Yeah, you got the Tenaruni.
And Kyle's got like a
17. It hasn't even came up yet.
17. Came up?
Came up and came out.
Okay.
Came up
like
and
a
then
puke.
came out. Yuck.
Sorry.
They're on the 14. I think it just released. I have the 13. I'm probably going to get the 14
behind.
because T-Mobile sent me a text the other day say, hey, they could get a free iPhone 14 on us. And that means to me, why would I not do that?
Right. But what they really mean is not that. You're
Well,
a marketer's dream, Kyle. We've talked
I
about that.
am that. You put it in front of me and I like it and I'm going to buy it every time.
I know. Thirdly, now that we're on the third topic, Kyle ridiculed me. And I mean not just little jesting like, oh, ha, 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 Aaron. Ridiculed me because of this phone service that we use. It's called Total Wireless. And Kyle thought it was so funny that it's not one of the mainstream networks. Well, guess what? In the past 2 weeks since we recorded our last episode, Verizon bought Total Wireless. So technically now we're under the Verizon umbrella for way cheap.
Verizon Schmoshmeisen.
And Kyle's over there in T-Mobile. And if you've ever done any research on T-Mobile, which I have, they have a massive dead zone in Nebraska.
Oh.
And my wife is from Nebraska. So am I going to get T-Mobile? No, I'm not going to get T-Mobile.
How is anyone ever going to call Warren Buffett if he can't get reception?
That too. Good point.
I remembered.
So he must not have T-Mobile.
Probably doesn't.
Loser.
Probably has like Cricket, dude. Oh, don't get me started on Cricket.
What's about Cricket?
Cricket's cheap, terrible service.
Oh, is it terrible?
Bad.
Do you know people that have Cricket?
Yes.
Name them right now to my face.
I don't want to.
Really? You can't even say their first names?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever, Kyle. Go ahead and be
No, it's
all
not that
weird
bad.
and cryptic.
Cricket, if you want to sponsor us, we'll take it. We'll take it. We'll use your service if you give
So
us free.
we'll Total Verizon. Total Wireless by Verizon. We'll shout you out.
Okay, I think we can dive into what's actually happening
Go ahead.
after a short commercial break. I'm sorry, guys.
Yes. A word from our sponsor.
Okay, for real though, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start or what to say.
I know. Do you want me to start it?
Sure.
A little bit?
Sure.
So.
Where are you starting at?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, we had our launch party, and
Yeah.
Kyle was P.S. was a total nightmare thanks to me. Could not get Facebook Live to do its thing.
That was so funny.
But that's okay. That's all right. We had
We bounced back.
really fun time.
We bounced back.
Really fun time. But Kyle was leaving shortly thereafter, so we said our farewells. And then Kyle was departing to Florida, and so he went to Florida and spent time in Florida. And there you go, Kyle. There's your entrance.
Okay, so let's talk about Florida. Let's talk about this podcast. Crazy that the release was only 2 weeks ago.
Feels like
and we
miles.
were literally talking right before this episode how much has happened.
Mm-hmm.
And in these 2 weeks, it's like unfathomable. So went to Florida to pursue some business ventures, also to vacation because it's beautiful Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And I have friends that live down there, Sandra and John, whom I hope to be in business with soon because they're great. They're amazing. They live in Fort Myers, which just got dominated by a hurricane. So let's just talk
Right.
about praying for that area because it's the 5th worst hurricane to ever hit the U.S.
That is
And I
wild.
almost got stuck there. Okay, so now Florida was great. It was beautiful. We seen some properties, and things are really starting to come along in that area. The timeline is a little iffy right now because of the rest of the things I'm about to say.
Real quick, for those of you who don't know, Kyle owns a gym.
Yes,
Okay, go ahead.
yes. 2 gyms currently here. The gym there will be more of like a wellness center. So it'll be nutrition. It'll have fitness classes, like 24-hour access, but it'll also have like a little spa area for like facials, pedicures, manicures, stuff like that. So it'll be like it's going to be called Whole Body Health. Something Whole Body Health, I think, is something name we're going to go with. So different entity than what I have now. Completely different business.
I have a great idea.
What is it?
Full, and then in parentheses, AN, Fullen Body Health. But it's a play on full body health.
Yeah, do you want a royalty for that too, bud?
Yeah, I would like a little income from that, but not much.
It's a great idea. So that's, I love where your head's at, Fullen.
Thank you.
I do. You're always
It's
thinking
always-
about your name and how you can capitalize on.
All about notoriety,
Yep.
my legacy, my namesake.
Yep. That's
That's
Just
all right. I
trying
know
to
you-
build the empire. I get it.
You have that same, you're always thinking of my name as well.
Yeah.
In all of your ventures.
Yes.
So,
I always think about
Which I
Aaron.
always-
Aaron. What can I do? So
that was another thing we could talk about, but no, we did. We did talk about it. We did talk. No, we didn't talk about
last episode we
it.
did.
No, we did
Yeah,
not.
because I said I was a pirate. Aaron. I watched it. Come on.
Bummer.
I listened to our podcast.
That's right. Kyle listens to our podcast. I'm one of
That's
those,
so
those actors who never watch their own movies. I can't listen to myself.
I know. It's kind of weird. It is weird listening.
is
It's
strange.
like, well.
You know what I
whatever.
realized, Kyle? When I do listen and watch, we actually, because I rewatched our live, we talk over each other a lot.
Yeah.
And I miss a lot of what you say until I rewatch it. I'm like, oh, like I miss a lot of what you have said.
I know. I just take it. Yeah.
You do the exact
No,
same thing.
I don't.
Exact same thing. Where I'm like, wow, he
Yeah,
talked
I
right
do.
over this awesome joke I had.
Oh yeah, we do that very frequently. It's
I
so
know.
funny. I think that's the best part about us. We don't care what
Probably.
the other person says. But we do.
We literally started this
But we
podcast to
do.
hear ourselves talk, but we knew we had we had the audio to bounce off somebody.
Right. Oh, that's so funny. Anywho, back to me. Thank you. That's enough.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Kyle. Sometimes I forget.
I hit my head on this corner of this
You
thing
did.
over here. There's a thing right here. If you can't see, it's not in the frame right now. But I hit my head on it. Hurts so bad.
It's
I
like a
think I'm
power box.
bleeding. Power box. Okay, so
He hasn't
in
been right
Florida,
since.
whole body health thing. It's super cool idea, and we made a lot of good connections while I was down there as well, which is the biggest thing because I don't have a ton of connections down there. They don't either. They have some, and we started to really talk to people and hype up the idea just to get the ball rolling.
Sure.
I checked out a bunch of equipment right before I went down. I'm going to purchase. There's a 98% chance. I'll give it a 2% not chance just in case it doesn't happen. Then you're like, go back and listen to your podcast. You
That
said
would just
100%.
be rude, though, so
So
don't do that.
we'll say 98% chance that I buy this Gold's Gym worth of equipment. We're talking literally a massive amount of equipment. 16,000 square foot gym worth of equipment.
Dang.
So, and it was
My house isn't
it's a
even that big.
crazy deal. Wow. Yeah. Mine's close.
Yeah, yours is.
But anywho, so that was great. Florida was great. Okay, so now let's get to the story about what happened right after Florida. I booked my flight home for the following, so it was a week and a half. So Saturday to the following Wednesday, not the Wednesday coming up, but the next one, so that we could do all this business stuff, right? And then all of a sudden we get this word that this hurricane's coming. So I'm like, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible. I might just try to tough it out, be fine, see what happens, blah, 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 blah. And then Sunday came around and it was getting worse and worse. And I'm like, shoot, I should probably get home. Otherwise, I'll be stuck here for another week. And I have a competition on Saturday. So I have to be back for that. And so, which is in 3 days from now. So I changed my flight to Monday. I got credit for the flight, and my new flight was way more expensive. But I knew I had to get home, otherwise I'd be stuck there. And so now I'm flying home Monday. So Sunday, we go to the Miami Dolphins Buffalo game in Miami, and it was awesome. It was a lot of fun. Hung out in Miami for a while, and then I got a hotel to fly out at 5:30 a.m. from Miami on Monday morning to go to Denver for a 3-hour layover, and then there to Des Moines, and where I would have to then go get my car in Cedar Rapids on the way back. My parents came and got me, and then I go home. So that was the new plan. And so I'm on my flight home, and I wake up from a nap. Which airline naps are the worst, dude? My
can't
neck
do it.
hurt, dude.
I can't do it.
I had crusty
Oh,
right
you
here.
had
I had the
crusty lip
crusty. You know what I'm
corners?
saying? The corner,
Ew.
the crusty when I woke up because I was
Yeah.
sleeping hard and I was probably drooling. And people next to me were probably
Hardcore.
like, Anyway, I'm on Southwest and they have free Wi-Fi. You can do iMessaging, and I turn it on, and all of a sudden I'm getting these texts like, "Call me ASAP," blah blah blah, from these people, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?" And so I'm freaking out. I text them and like, "I'm on a flight. I I can't call you right now. What's going on? And they said, Bailey, who is the mother of my child, she's on an ambulance right now going to Iowa City, getting rushed to Iowa City because she was having some complications with our baby. And so immediately I start sobbing, like bawling my eyes out because I'm freaking out on this airplane, completely helpless. And it was the worst feeling in the world. But to Bailey, thank you for going through that, because it's amazing what you went through and endured compared to what I did. Not even in the same ballpark. So let's just put that out there.
Right.
Crazy. Cannot imagine. And I'm thankful that she is as strong as she is. And anyway, so I get back to the airport in Denver and I call and they're like, yeah, she was blah, 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 all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get home. So I sprint to this terminal. There's a flight leaving in 15 minutes for Moline, which is closer. And they wouldn't give me the flight. And I'm like, this is crazy. Why would you not give me this flight right now? So I wait 3 hours in Denver, just like so distraught. Like I can't even explain to you what's going on. And then I get a call. She's going to the operating room to have a C-section and our baby's about to be born. And I am in Denver. And I'm like, what is happening right now? Just out of my mind. And so then I fly to Des Moines. The guy next to me was from New Zealand. Pretty cool dude. So that was cool.
At least you had that.
Yeah, it was a little bit of,
Right.
honestly, a little bit of relief because I had someone to talk to that was fascinating. And glad he wasn't boring.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Can you imagine?
Right.
Imagine being
So-
stuck next to a boring person.
Yeah, I cannot imagine that. That's probably what I thought about me. It was this boring guy.
Who
sitting
looks
next
like
to
he's
me.
been crying.
Yeah. And so I get to Des Moines. My parents pick me up. We shoot over to Iowa City, and I get to meet my baby. And Bailey's in the recovery room, and she's still pretty sore and stuff from all the stuff that went down. And our baby is in the NICU in the Iowa City Children's Hospital. And I just want to, I don't know if anyone from there will ever listen to this, but just shout out to that whole facility and all those doctors, because they're literally amazing. Like, they treat you so well for the most part. And they're geniuses. I mean, that's like the best place you can have your baby in that situation. And so I'm very hopeful that she will be good soon. She's having some oxygen level complications because she's a premature baby, born at 34 weeks, 5 pounds, 2 ounces. Blakely is her name. She's beautiful. She's a little tiny girl. But she has breathing tubes and feeding tubes and a CPAP machine and all this stuff for now. But we're just praying that it's short-lived, but we'll be spending a lot of time in Iowa City going back and forth. But those guys are amazing. And so within this past couple weeks, I've been to Florida and did a lot of fun stuff and had a child. And now I'm back for tonight, and then I'll be going back out to Iowa City every day until baby's out to Iowa City. So, which is an hour and a half from where we live. So I have to drive, but we'll be staying out there because they have different housing options and stuff. So, just little things over here. Nothing too crazy. I just talked for a long time. I think it's time for Aaron to really...
Yeah, you don't ever feel bad about talking long, Kyle. Sometimes I get the sense that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm talking a lot. That's the point of a podcast.
That's what we're here for?
That's what we're here to do, so you never
Yeah.
have to rush through a story.
No.
Never, ever.
Right. And it was, Bailey is a trooper. She literally just went through it, and I respect the crap out of her for that. And now we have this beautiful baby girl that we are going to raise to be a woman of God who is she's going to be beautiful. There's no doubt in my mind. She got dark brown hair right now. But it's turning a little blonde, so we don't know what way it's going to go. We don't know what way it's going to go.
Yeah, because Kyle's a brownie and Bailey's a blondie, so you just don't know. You just can't know.
But yeah, just the craziest, holy crap, roller coaster of emotions and crazy events have evolved in the past couple weeks. And that's kind of how we roll. That's how we roll.
Right.
That's how we roll.
And that's what we told you. We warned you at the beginning and start of this podcast that it was going to be a wild ride for our lives, because just things tend to happen. Case in point. 2 weeks go by. Kyle's here with a newborn in Iowa City.
Yeah.
So,
whom I love
pretty
and
wild.
can't wait to go see again. I actually feel like I want to be there every second, but I had to come back and I had to get a lot of things done.
Yeah.
And it was good. But I'm excited to be back out there. So, anywho, God is good, man. I mean, he was literally the fact that I was supposed to fly home on Wednesday, would have got caught in a hurricane, not been able to come home for another week, would have missed the first week and a half of my child's life unless I drove home, got a rental car and drove home. Instead, changed my flight prematurely so that I could get home. And then while I'm flying home, all this happened. I'm like, if that ain't God, I don't know what is, because that was crazy. And then there was a miracle on her part too, which is a little more personal probably, but just so many things lined up so well. It was just like God's grace displayed and magnified, and this whole thing will change my life forever. There's no doubt. One, because I'm a baby girl, but also just the experience. Holding a little girl in your arms that's yours for the first time, dude. Holy crap. Talk about like your soul just is it's a phenomenon that you can't even explain. And then she's just snuggled up and her little eyes will open and she'll see you and you just look at her and you know she has no idea what the heck is going on and who you are, but you know, just is the most precious thing. I'm going to cry talking about it, so I got to stop because I don't want to cry on this podcast.
You can cry on a podcast. That's another thing. That's so loud.
I'm going to ugly
Kyle
crier.
and I do know how to laugh, but we also know how to cry, and they deserve to know that.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
there you go.
Has been an emotional series of events, but
not really on the outside, folks. Let me give you a little bit of an outsider's perspective, which I told Kyle. You know, as Kyle's friend, I wanted to know enough to know, like, okay, how are things really going? You know, you have, you know, the sometimes you have to peel back a few layers, which Kyle literally, when the first time I said, "How you doing?" he literally said, because he had already sent a picture of his baby girl, and I could tell she wasn't, you know, she had an oxygen tube.
She was beautiful.
No, she was beautiful. I knew I had to be careful how I said that. I knew she was.
Because you just made a video about ugly babies. So don't even step around.
In duress. I knew she looked somewhat in duress. So that's why when I asked how he was, I wanted to know actually like what was going on. And he just responded, "Doing good over here, buddy. She's great," or "She's beautiful," or something like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we are so different. And then he sent another picture later and she had even more stuff hooked up to her. So I was very confused. And so Kyle's not like he doesn't show necessarily all that's really going on. I probably would have just been
here's why. If it was a phone call, not that I was overwhelmed with the number of people talking to me too. I mean, I can't even explain to you.
Yeah.
It was insane. Not that I didn't want to give you a thorough response, but just the thought of like typing out everything again was like, I don't. Right. But like a phone, if you call me on the phone, I will tell you everything, and I'll be very thorough.
Yeah.
If we have an in-person conversation, absolutely.
Right.
But
which I did not want to call normally I would call in a situation, but I knew there was way too much going on. So.
Yeah, and I appreciate that because some people don't have that sort of process in their brain, and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on over there?
Let me see."
Yeah.
And
then their mom calls, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?"
Yeah, and Kyle also, this is what you should know. Kyle does have a lot of correspondence going on simultaneously. Like he usually has a lot of correspondence going on. So when something big's going on like that, I can only imagine. Only imagine.
That's a great song.
Sorry.
I was about to pop in there, dude. I literally was.
You were going to pop in with a duet harmony, weren't you?
Man, yeah.
You really missed out, everybody.
I will say it is, it's hard to see your little girl with all of these like tubes and IVs and all the stuff that she's hooked up to. But they're the best in the world. And so I'm just staying hopeful that they know what they're doing. It's going to help her and she's going to get to go home with us hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, I really, we talked about this. Perspective is huge. And massive. A lot of times my perspective is, if I'm down for a little bit or sad or upset or whatever, I generally am pretty quick to bounce back because I'm like, life is still good and it's still going on and I can't control a lot of things. And so I just try to keep that in perspective and try to think about the blessings. And that doesn't mean I'm I don't handle, like, sometimes I get angry, sometimes I get whatever, frustrated. Absolutely. But I generally am pretty quick to just get back to life because that's how I roll. I don't know. Maybe I've got something wrong with me. Probably do.
Don't make me answer that.
Yeah.
But no, we're just all vastly different. We're
Yeah.
all vastly different, and
Yeah.
that's what makes the world go round.
Round and around. So let's talk about how the fact that Chris Pratt literally commented on your reel.
We took way too hard of a
Nope.
transition.
We don't need a
Absolutely, we
segue.
do.
What's the segue?
Absolutely, we do. What if I talked about like something horrendous in my not what happened?
I was like, excuse me,
I'm
sir.
saying traumatic.
Yeah, very traumatic for sure.
Is the right word. And then I wanted to hear about your Pokemon card collect. That doesn't.
Chris Pratt is not a Pokemon, dude.
You can't.
Chris
do
Pratt
that.
is not a Pokemon.
Okay, so before we move over to Kyle's very accurate statement about the Chris Pratt, also known as @Pratt on Instagram, did comment on a video of mine. But
back to me.
As
I'm tired of talking to you.
as a father as well, with the birth of my first child way back in 2014, I will also never forget that evening. Number one, my wife was an absolute champ with that first labor and delivery. She did most of it at a friend's house down in the Quad Cities where we live. Literally, we just got to the hospital in time for her to push the baby out.
Wow.
Pretty much. She was incredible. And anyway, so it was a very high adrenaline experience, period, just watching someone go through that. As a male, outside perspective. But then I'll never forget, so she was born at like 3 a.m, and it was the time after, the mom has her skin to skin time with the baby. And then they're like, okay, time for you to get up and get a bath, get showered, clean up, and dad gets his time with the baby. And so I'm like, oh my gosh. So then they wrap the baby up, my little girl, and my wife and the nurse go into the bathroom and they hand me the baby, and it's just me and Bella in this hospital room. Dark out, like such a surreal moment. And all the thoughts that run through your head as a father, like this child now relies on me for everything. Like it is such an overwhelming feeling of life will never be the same. And to have that sense of like someone relying on you in that way is overwhelming. And I cried. I'll never forget that moment. I'm just holding her, looking at her face and bawling my eyes out by myself in this hospital room, because that hits you hard. It should hit you hard. It's one of those things that if it doesn't hit you like a ton of bricks when you realize how important the role of fatherhood is,
then you are a sociopath.
then you should be excused from the room.
Well, yeah.
So it's wild.
Babies are crazy, man.
They are crazy.
Wow.
And the whole experience, like, people give birth to babies every single day, and it's just insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I can only imagine being in the NICU. I can only imagine what some of the parents are going through too.
Oh, yeah.
There's some significantly different scenarios and that are just like heartbreaking to see. The NICU will change your life, man. I mean, but God is good and He's faithful, and He's gonna deliver her from that place, and we are gonna get to hold our precious Blakely at home soon. And that will be great.
That will be fantastic. Phenomenal.
So welcome to fatherhood.
There you go, Kyle.
Thanks,
Here
Kyle.
you are.
Yeah.
What a difference 2 weeks can make.
Yeah.
That's the theme of this podcast.
Yeah. What just happened?
So I could talk all night long about fatherhood, but we'll save that. We'll save a little bit for some other episodes because, there's going to be plenty of time for that.
Of course.
But so gosh, how much?
How do we segue? How do we segue out of this?
How much do I tell of this story 2 years ago,
Oh my gosh.
before I met the man across the table, right before I met the man across the table.
Yeah.
It was right around my 30th birthday.
You're 30?
I'm 32 now, Kyle. I know. Massively old.
Excuse me while I old. I'll be right back before old. I'm just kidding.
Chill.
I'm kidding.
You'll be here before you know it.
I know. Don't talk about it.
So I had heard that Chris Pratt was starting a production company called Indivisible Productions. He made a big hoopla on Instagram that he was doing it, and I was like, I would like to be part of that. And it's really not how it works. Like when someone starts a production company, it's not like they're like all of a sudden making movies and they're hiring composers and all that jazz.
Let's talk about real quick how much we love Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt is...
He's an amazing human and actor.
And he can train velociraptors. I mean, hello.
Excuse me. Can you train a velociraptor?
A velociraptor.
I did not think so.
No, not at all. So yeah, I got into my brain, which is a very dangerous thing to do.
I do not ever want to be there.
No, don't ever
Holy
be there.
cow.
You don't ever want
You think
to.
velociraptors are bad.
Right.
Try Aaron's brain.
So I'm like, I'm going to get a hold of Chris. No idea how. Absolutely going to get a hold of him. Now, this is a little sneak peek into how determined Aaron Fullen can be. I decided I'm going to make a video every single day for however long it takes for him to take notice. And I'll tag him on social media. I'll do all that stuff. So I did it for 26 days straight. I made videos, filmed them, edited them, posted them, tagged him. Had a lot of people enjoy the series. And if you'd like to, go to my Facebook at Aaron Fullen. There is a playlist on there called Dude, Chris Pratt, Hire Me. That has all 20 some videos because I did like a few more in the coming months. So I think there's a total of like 28 videos. So go watch those. But nothing came of it other than I was on a TV station in Central Iowa and I got an article in American Songwriter, which is a national magazine, which was kind of fun. But other than that, I didn't hear from Chris. So that's okay. That's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You try, nothing happens. Then fast forward 2 years, like a month ago, I made a reel based on a challenge that Chris had made online. And I did it in a funny way. And he commented on it. 3 laughing emojis.
Mm-hmm.
He was busting a gut.
He probably had literally tears flowing down his face onto his probably designer blue jeans.
Probably.
Just out of his mind laughing.
So it was at that moment I knew like, okay, Chris probably wants to meet me. I should probably do something else. So then I saw that he posted about his ranch. Oh my, did you hear how wet my mouth was right
ranch. What was that?
It's a ASMR, remember? For all our ASMR our listeners. So I was like, you know what? He should have an original theme for his ranch. Duh.
Of course.
I write music. So I wrote him a theme and posted a little promo of it where I'm like, okay, sneak peek over the weekend. Sneak peek. This is what's coming Monday. And he commented on it again and said he was on the edge of his seat.
So he's
Literally, since then, since Sunday evening, Chris Pratt has been on the edge of his seat. And if you're on YouTube, you can see how Kyle's doing the
staring
perfect impression.
at his screen until he sees it's posted. And then he'd be like,
yeah, he's going to be cray-cray. So he hasn't commented on the actual video itself, but a ton of wonderful feedback from many people. Many people asking me, have you heard from him? Have you heard from him? Has Aaron heard from him? I haven't, Chris. So get all of me.
Probably Christopher, but we don't know for sure.
But you just never know. And for
know.
me, this is what has been so important and so key there's a lot of people who would never go to certain extents to do things, and that is fine. We've talked about this before. That is a certain segment of society. And then there's people, which obviously you need to find the balance between holy psychopath Batman and insistence. And I'm very aware of the psychopath line just because I think I've met some borderline psychopaths. So you want to avoid that, obviously. But people can tell when you're persistent and you're willing to put yourself out there. I have some really good friends out in California who they say they watch my videos. They like every couple weeks, they catch up on all of my video sketches. And the husband, Hugh, literally, he loves the videos I make, but he cringes inside because he apparently, according to his wife, he has to envision himself doing the same things and saying the same things I do. And he is not the same personality type as me. So he like dies inside imagining doing some of the stuff that I do, which when I look at myself on the outside in, sometimes I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. But it has opened the door of opportunity wide open. And that's what you got to do. You have to figure out how your skill set and your gifts can set you apart. I know not a ton of people write orchestral music, so that automatically shrinks the pool of people who could potentially do something like that. Also, you notice things. So like when Chris or whoever, someone you want to get a hold of who's in your industry, they say things like, this is my favorite place, or this is what, which was the case in my instance, where I'm like, okay, he loves this place. He would absolutely think a theme for a place he loves would be awesome.
Of course.
So you have to think creatively in your skill set. How can I benefit the person that I'm trying to get a hold of? Because when in fact you like look at all people, you put them all in the same boat. They're all human. They all have,
they all poop.
Kyle likes to bring the fact up that they all poop. Mm-hmm. But they have basic human needs just like everybody else. And so if you're able to think of someone in a special way, not just because, oh, they're a movie star, they're they have a ton of money, those kind of things. You look at them as humans and you look for ways you can benefit them as a human. That will give you way more opportunity and a better platform than if you're just looking to suck someone dry for what they can get for you.
A better platform.
Oh, my Lanta.
Oh,
that was marvelous.
Oh, we got him.
Thank you, Kyle. We could stop there. We could stop right there.
See you guys next year.
A massive success of an episode.
Dude. Maybe dude 1, maybe dude 2. Who knows? Still in debate, but
still a debate. But I did give Kyle a dude 1 nod.
He did
on our Instagram. If you don't follow us on socials, look us up and
go do it right now. It's fine.
But I did give him a shout out as dude 1 for a day.
However,
which was sweet of me, wasn't it?
It was nice. I felt honored. First time for
I was
everything.
Just glad you knew it wasn't permanent. But.
No, yeah. I said, thanks for giving me dude 1 for the day.
And
emoji, laughing emoji.
So hard.
Yeah, we do laugh at each other's stories that we post and also our texts that we send to each other. At least I do. He's probably like, this guy's an idiot. But
I told you last episode, you're very good in writing.
I laugh hard sometimes at what he sends me.
Yeah.
And we're going to be on Paula Sands live.
Yes, we are, which is
in like 5 days from now.
Which is a big deal in this area. Yeah. Everybody knows Paula Sands.
Yeah.
She is like how would you describe her? Like the Today Show for regional. She's like won Emmys and stuff.
She's legit, dude.
She's legit.
And we've both been on her show separately. He's been on it 3 times, right?
I think 2 or 3 times, yeah.
I've been on it 1 time.
Who got you that?
Was it you? It was you.
I recommended Kyle.
That's so cool.
I didn't want to say that. Now my jewel in my crown in heaven is gone.
Gone, yeah, because you just bloated about it. Wait.
But I just... Did you say bloated about it?
Every episode, I got to have one thing that I just totally mess up.
I am bloated. And now our next sponsor comes. Just kidding.
No, yeah. So cool. Yes, thank you for that. It was fun when I did it last time, and we're gonna be on it for our podcasty.
We did,
which is so funny.
Which this is yeah, we can go here. This is fun. So I just reached out to the producer. I know the producer of the show and just said, hey, if you're looking for content, a friend of mine and I started a podcast. And they reached out and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you on. Just so you know, we have a vaccination mandate for any potential guests on the show. So I am not vaccinated. And you are, Kyle, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like,
let's start a huge debate. I'm just kidding.
No.
We don't want to hear
there are
your
plenty
views.
of people who are not, and there's plenty of people who are. Get over it. That's just life. So I said, well, I can't be, but I think Kyle is, so he could represent us on the show. And they didn't want that. So they said, we'd rather have you both on. So
They said, the ugly one, he wants to represent.
No.
And you said, yeah, you're right. We'll Zoom.
Yeah, I
We'll
thought
Zoom.
better of it. No.
Yeah, we have another pretty big thing. We probably shouldn't talk about it yet because we don't know what's going to happen. But the podcast is just doing its thing. We're having fun with it, and I hope you guys are having fun listening to it.
We could mention it.
Dude Dad?
Yeah.
Dude Dad. We're
Right.
going to do an episode with Dude Dad. If you don't know who it is, look it up.
Taylor,
Look him up.
He's a very prominent content creator. He has a show on the Magnolia Network. He knows the Gaines.
I know how
pretty
to
cool
make
story.
games. He knows the games.
Right. He has a pretty cool story too. He was an actor. He started a YouTube channel, bare minimum, and his wife was like, things were really desperate. Like he was working, I forget, like 3 jobs. It was just crazy. And so he was trying to figure out what was going to have to give to support their family, their growing family. And his wife actually said, anything but your Dude Dad channel. She was just like, that you love doing that most of all. And I think it will take off one day.
And it
here
did.
He is, and he does.
He has
it.
4.1 million Facebook followers.
Yeah.
And 800,000 Instagram followers.
Yeah.
He did it.
He did it.
He got
And
people
he
to
has his
listen.
own show on.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
So he lives in Colorado. We're trying to figure out if we will have the opportunity to go out to Colorado or not, or if we're going to, do it virtually. Hopefully Colorado sounds kind of fun. Maybe we could fly him here to the corner.
Or that.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Depends how trusting he is.
But pretty cool. He did not even hesitate. I put together this big, long email of reasons we would like to have him on. And he just wrote a new book, which we will promote for him. But he just responded, you bet.
That's it.
That was it. He did not need, I don't think he even needed all of the, I had been in touch with him before. We had talked about collaborating in the past. So, yeah, great guy. Very cool. And we look forward to having him. Let us know if you're familiar with him and what you want us to talk about while he's here.
Yes.
But we're all dads. So that was the thing that I told him we would love to talk about.
Very few other dads anywhere within miles of us. So
Very few.
yeah.
Very few.
Wow. What are we at for?
45 minutes.
45 minutes already.
Yes, sir.
It's been fun. By next episode, probably about 800 more things are going to happen.
I know.
And you guys get to hear about most of them. We'll keep some out. We can't
I know
let you
there's
know.
a few that I can already think
everything.
of that we didn't talk about, but
I know.
you know what?
We could literally
keep
make
listening.
a 2-hour podcast if we wanted to
know.
so easily. So if you guys want a 2-hour podcast, we can make you one.
Yeah, just let us know.
Just let us know if it's too short, too long. Actually, if it's too long, if it's too short.
Wait, I've had multiple
Let me
people
know.
say too short.
Too short.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think in just the positive way of we enjoy listening to it. I don't
That's
think they're
great.
actually saying
We want
make a 2-hour podcast, but
we want your feedback. Yeah, I
We do.
can't. Okay, so here's my thing. If I see something that's 2 hours, it better be Lord of the Rings because
I knew
I'm
it.
not,
I knew it.
or a Marvel movie. I like this too, or something like that.
I didn't know that, Kyle. I didn't know you liked Marvel.
Yeah, I
or
love
Lord of the Rings.
superheroes. I love habits. I love dragons. So, anywho, we want your feedback. Let us know what you think. Follow us on social media for sure.
For sure. So much good stuff that we post on there.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll try to make some more content here too so that you guys can just be so happy seeing Kyle and Aaron everywhere.
Yep. We like-
a couple of dudes.
We like what you have said so far, so anytime you want to just send some encouragement, send money for a castle. I don't know if it's been a while since we mentioned
The
that
address.
is one of our main goals.
Yeah. Address is 912 4th Street, Fulton, Illinois, 61252. Checks payable to probably Aaron plus Kyle would be fine. Don't put two dudes in a corner because it's not an actual. We don't have a
We
bank
don't have
account
an
yet.
LLC yet.
But we're working on it. We're working on
Yeah.
it. And but if you want to send us money for the castle because that's really our long-term goal, please do.
Which I found one in Scotland.
I did.
I follow this page on social media called Cheap Old Houses. Go check it out. They find all of the super cool historical cheap old homes, and in this case castles, and put their listings up. Like if you really did want to buy a castle, you really could. So there was a Scotland castle available for sale, very cheap in the grand scheme of things, but it was basically a tower.
So many.
Mostly a tower.
Oh, dude. And then I texted and I'm like, he said, we'll need an elevator. And I said, we could just get one of those stair things that you sit on and it
Loops
just
up.
goes, nice and slow up the stairs on a railing. And then he sent me a GIF of an old guy on one of those things. Oh, I was laughing so hard.
It's so good, and it would have been so fun. But I think I'd like it to squish out a little bit. I mean, tall is cool, but if it could be
It's just
a little more out and then up.
this and that.
But it was on like an old manor, so
Yeah.
it was like the old medieval like scout tower for the other building. Would have been so cool, and Scotland's gorgeous. So
yeah, never been,
to
but I
check it out.
heard. Anywho, well, that's probably. Have we done? Do we keep going?
yeah, we can be done. That's absolutely allowed. We can wrap.
I don't want to be done.
I know. I have to pee.
I do too.
I do.
Really
And
bad.
I just peed right before this.
I did. I held it this whole.
Wait,
time.
you have to pee.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to pee. I thought
Well,
you.
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Who's got to go worse? That's the question.
Anyway, well, thank you guys for listening to Two Dudes in a Corner. If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you loved seeing our precious faces. And if you're listening to us on our podcast, we love ya, even if we don't know ya. And we'll see ya next week.
Next week.
Farewell, my fair maidens. Wait.
Just maidens. No, what do you call the male versions of the opposites of maidens? Knights?
Dudes?
Dudes and maidens?
Dudes and maidens.
Probably knights. Peasants. Maidens and
We love you,
peasants.
all you peasants. Until next
Oh, I
week.
guess maidens are technically peasants too. Probably.
Yeah.
How about maidens and men?
Mans and maidens.
Mans and maidens.
Mans and maidens. This
Laters.
is Two Dudes. Check it out. Bye.